So welcome back to another video. Now, the last one, we got our sight scoped up. Last time we were working on the Pathfinder, we got the Hikmicro on. I've done some shimming, so it's shooting a lot nicer now, but the only thing it was missing was an IR torch, which we now have. This is by Nightfox, so if I can point it the right way, there you go. It is the XB5 IR, and this one's a 850 torch, basically. So this one runs at the 850 light beam, so it will be visible to the naked eye, but it only really looks like a red light. Obviously I wouldn't recommend touching it, but this is a really cool torch. We can focus and unfocus, so we can kind of change how wide the light beam is and how focused the light beam is. And then just at the back we have an adjuster with an LED light, so when it is on we've got our red light, and then I can turn it up and turn it back down and then press it and it's turned off. This takes an 18650, I think it's called, battery. I'll tell you now because it's on here. Now this is supposedly waterproof. You can see we've got some O-rings around where the threads are. Yeah, an 18650, I thought so, battery. So that's quite nice because you have the same charger for your battery on there, so you can charge them both at the same time, which is really handy. Just going to make sure I put these in the right position. So nice little compact thing. This is it compared to the size of my palm. We'll go from the top to the button. We're looking at about 6.25 inches or 16 centimeters, just under 16 centimeters. 1 inch or 1.5 inch, I believe. The reason I say that for the radius, the reason I say that is because to mount it, I bought a Hikmicro mounting bracket. It's as simple as we have 2 threads here. We can just unscrew and we open it up. You can see we have sort of a shim or a resting ring, which is surprisingly quite thick, to be honest with you. If this breaks, you're probably pretty stuffed with how small that clamps on. But I think what this does is it just allows your tolerance, so it sits like this, so it can't close all the way. Sadly, you don't get a spare of these, and it's quite nerve-wracking folding it over, and there it is, right there. And then it's just as simple as you can see, there's a bevel, so it will always sit on the right one. Then you've just kind of got to, which way it goes is which way you want it to mount. So if I want it on the left side of the gun, I'd put it this way. Or if I want it on the right side of the gun, I'd put it this way. I'll be doing that. So if I pop this out of the bevel, so I've got the Hikmicro right in towards me, and then we can just rest it in here. Probably try and centralize it on there. I'm not too bothered about if I can see the writing or not. As long as it's accessible and I can twist it, that's not a problem. And then it's just as simple as putting those screws back in. So there we have it. That is now mounted on the torch, facing the right way I want it to face. And then we just have this little adjustment. We can unscrew and screw and then close it onto the gun. So let me just clip this onto the gun and I'll show you what we're looking like. So there we are, mounted up nicely. And then, as you can see, we can see the right in there. So I've got access to my buttons, got my my gun here. I just kind of keep it on the same side as this, just because when I shoot, I'm shooting there. So my spare eye is on the left, just so this isn't blocking anything. I'm not trying to look over or anything. Not that I will at night, but just out of habit, or I'm not having to kind of break the gun down every time I want to use it. If I go to the range or something, I can just keep it on there nicely. So now that's on, what we're going to do is we're going to go and take a look at how it looks using the torch and how it looks without it. And we should hopefully see quite a big difference. So let's go outside and let's see how this thing looks. So we're out on the sticks, and right now I am just using the normal night vision, I guess you could call it, infrared, or the inbuilt night option on ye old Hikmicroscope. So we can see the grass in front, and obviously we can kind of adjust the focus. Let's make it blurry, let's make it nice, a bit more crisp. But the next thing we can do on this scope, before we move over to the art, is just open up the aperture. So now we are full blast on the aperture. It's definitely opened a lot more of the grass in front of us, but we can only very faintly see everything else. Now, it is dark. We don't really get, as you can hear a plane going across, we don't really get any light pollution around here. So when the moon is covered, it really is just pitch black. And as you can tell, we can see the grass in front, but not any further. So I think what we're going to do is going to turn this on. So this is on the weakest setting, and light us. So that's wound in all the way now. So this is basically as wide as the infrared torch will go, and this is as dim as it will go. And we've got the aperture sight all the way open. So if I turn the torch off, obviously we can see the sky, but and we can still see some of the mountains, but as we go closer, it's not really that clear. So let's turn the light back on. So like I said, we're on the kind of the lowest setting. So if we just start twisting, definitely starts opening the light up, as you can tell. We just switch to the other side. Start opening the light up, but because it's so wide, the beam, nothing is very concentrated. It's more of, instead of a spotlight, more of a, I'm trying to think what the name would be. It will soon come to me. Flood beam, that's probably the word I was after. It's more of a flood beam. So what we can do is, this is full whack. This is as bright as we go. Obviously it's really blowing up the screen, so let's dim it down. And then let's start twisting the focus on the torch. So let's figure out where it is, go all the way to the front. You see the LED strips there. So that is full focus. So let's just start honing that in, shall we? Here we are. So that is a lot more of a focus beam, and that is a really low setting in all honesty. If I start turning it up, you can really see. We'll go full. So you can really start to see the detail. So it really does light things up. So if we just adjust the focus on here, yeah, you can really get a nice look. Let's zoom in again. So that really does make the difference. It's on 14, 7 times zoom, 3.5 times zoom. So let's start looking towards these trees. So without, you can sort of see them, but this really does just add that brightness to it. It really does make a huge difference. And then same again, we can kind of, that's a flood, that's a focus beam on the torch, so we can kind of start changing the focus. And then let me just get a better angle at this. I haven't got much space here, to be honest with you. So you can really see the trees. So let's turn the light off. So here, yeah, this just does nothing. And here you can really make the detail of the trees. And then it'll just be a matter of just in the focus to bring out the detail. So this is an absolute game changer, as you can see, when it comes to it. Oh, that's the wall. This really does make a huge difference, this torch. I'm really impressed with it, to be honest with you, especially with the aperture sight open. I mean, we can close the aperture sight. Let's try closing it. Whether it does much, I can't really tell the difference. But I think really the difference is the focus on the IR torch. If we start changing the focus, like I said, off, on, it just allows you to see that detail on those trees. It makes a huge difference. Is that something there? Potentially. I cannot really tell. But it looks like there may be something there. It's gotta be, that was a blink. Maybe a hedgehog potentially. Who knows? But this is definitely a game changer. Having this on there. It really does. Make this thing night and day. I'm trying to see what that was. But I think I've lost it. It's probably facing the other way now. But yeah, I'm really impressed with this torch. And just for, that's night. And that's day. And again, we can just adjust the focus. There it is there. It's blinking, so it must be something. It must be a little hedgehog or something. But I am really impressed with this torch. This is a necessity, 100%, having a torch like this on a night scope. Definitely is a game changer and a necessity if you're going to be shooting these out at night. It really is a night and day, ironically. That is impressive. That is really impressive. Right, it's getting cold, so we're going to get inside now. And yeah, let's get back to ending this video. So it really does help. You can really see the difference. So I'm really pleased with that. And it looks quite cool, suits the gun. So I'm very pleased with that also. But this is going to really enhance our night shooting game. So great torch. £46 I paid for it. You get about 2 hours out of it, but obviously these batteries, I have a couple of them lying around, so to be honest, you just chuck one in, chuck one out. So that's not really too much of a concern for me anyway. And obviously the Hikmicro's got quite a long battery life on it as well, so them paired together is absolutely fantastic. So I'll leave a link in the description if anyone's interested in the torch. It's not affiliated or anything, sadly. It's just helping everyone out. But I hope this video has been interesting. It kind of gets you an idea of the difference between using the Hikmicro with and without an IR torch, and why it's a worthy investment. The bracket, I'll be honest with you, was a bit expensive, 40 quid, which I thought was a bit of a rip-off, to be honest with you, but I'd rather use the official Hikmicro stuff than some of the clamps that are out there, so there's not really much I can do on that one, sadly, but there's plenty of others out there cheaper that, if you're not as fussy as me, would not be a problem at all. So I'd be sure to check out them before you fork out quite a lot of money for that. But in the meantime, I hope this video has been interesting and informal, and I'll see you all in the next one.